Welcome everyone to the October 2022 meeting of the PR Masters. I am your president, Matthew Douglas. It is wonderful to see all of you. I can see we have a couple of guests, Sandra and Mildred. Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to see you. I am going to hand over festivities this evening to our esteemed Toastmaster, Mr. Bill Maher.
Well, thank you very much, Matthew. It is good to be here. Glad to see everyone. And Fred, you had an amazing week. Glad to see you here, and glad that things are going well as can be expected, I suppose, for people in your part of Florida. Appreciate that. And yeah, it's good to be here. We have a good meeting tonight. We have some things that we might need to fill, a couple of roles that we might need to fill. And we'll talk about that, partly to introduce how we do things here at PR Masters, and partly to let's put some people on the spot, perhaps. I put in the agenda, and I'll put it, or in the chat, and I'll put it in again. The let's see here. I got too many windows open at the same time here. There we are. The agenda for tonight. But I got to make sure that everybody gets it. I was just going to send it to one person, but that person already has it. So let's do it this one. Okay. And yeah, technology is great when it works. So let's get that going here. There we go. So for those of you, and the agenda tonight, typically we have a PDF that does everything. This is a little different. It's one that I gleaned off of EasySpeak, because we were having some problems with our Google Doc that created into a PDF that did this and that and the other thing. So what I always tell my kids, technology is great when it works, you know, and so this is how it's working. So we're going to roll with it at this point. Tonight's theme is brand power. And one of the reasons I like this club and I joined this club is because we talk specifically about the kinds of things that relate to PR and what we need to be concerned about with PR and how we need to handle that and the struggles that we might come upon, and some clues as to how some of us are finding success with our PR struggles. As I mentioned, I'm a teacher. I teach high school students, and I teach graphic design and photography and a couple other things. And I do talk about their branding. And what I do with high school students to kind of get them thinking about what that really means is I ask them, you know, yearbooks come out every year and they have this list, most likely to succeed, most likely to be this, most known as. How would people describe you in your yearbook if they were going to do that now? What would they be going to you for if they needed something to be done? What would you be able to do? What are you known as? And to me, that kind of boils down to what brand power is all about. It's how we're known, what people think of us when they first think of us, or think of our club, or think of what we do as a professional. So I'm really interested to see how we kind of tackle that issue tonight. We have two speakers with evaluations. We have, with evaluators, we will do some round robin evaluators. And we also do something called Dear PR Masters as our second table topics kind of thing. And I do have somebody in mind. However, I'm going to open it up. And Dear PR Masters is an opportunity for someone to talk a little bit and lead us through a particular challenge that they or their club might be having, and some possible solutions to a challenge that they have. So I'm going to open it up to see if anybody has a particular issue or challenge that they have been handling or trying to handle of recent, and would like to present it through our Dear PR Masters format. I'll see if there's any hands that come up in the next few seconds or so to see if somebody wants to take on that challenge and see how we go with that. I'm not seeing any hands. So Jennifer's laughing too much, but she's already got a role, so she's lucky. Yes. So, Maureen, I'd like to put you on the spot, and oh my gosh, she just blanked out. She did raise her hand, so that's good. One of the roles too that is very important for Toastmasters is the timer. And Carissa, I believe you're our timer for this evening. So if you could take a moment to explain the role of the timer and how that might be handled, and lead us through what you do for that.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Carissa Young. Timer for Toastmasters meetings helps us keep on track by letting speakers and Toastmaster know, and for being timely, of course. I believe both of our speeches today are 5 to 7 minutes. Is that correct, Marcy and Matthew? Okay. So,
yes.
thank you. So actually what I learned from this very club is that if I raise my hand, I'll float up to the top, making it easier for the speakers to see me. Learned that from Jill. Thank you, Jill. And for 5 to 7 minutes, I would show a green background at 5, yellow background at 6, red background at 7 to let the speaker know they have 30 seconds to wrap up. For the other sections of the meetings, I may need some pointers from either the section leader or the Toastmaster exactly about how they want to be timed. So I'm here and I'll be paying attention and reporting as needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carissa. Really appreciate that and how you handle that role. One of the things that I like about timing is knowing when to wrap things up. Adam, your hand is raised. Do you have a comment, a question?
At some point, I believe Mildred raised her hand about the PR Masters.
Yes.
Club.
I saw that and I was going to ask her about that. Thank you for that. Mildred, did you have a question?
Well, you asked us earlier for our challenges, and I have the challenge that I'm the PR person and I'm a real newbie at my club. But we have maybe 8 or 9 people that show up at every meeting. And we barely have enough people to go around, you know? It's to take all the roles, it's really challenging. And I know that it's my job to get more members on board, but I'm having a challenge making that happen. And even getting our existing members to come on a regular basis seems difficult.
It is difficult. I think all of us can relate to that challenge. So what I'm going to do, and I'm kind of putting all of us on notice, is we are going to talk about that issue at our DR Toastmasters time. And so it gives us some time to think about it and to coalesce our answer set. So Mildred, thank you very much for bringing that up. That'd be a wonderful topic for us to discuss a little bit later on in our meeting. So thank you for that. Yeah. Welcome, Eric. Good to see you again. Excellent. I want to just go ahead right into our prepared speeches and our mini engagement as we start our meeting today. Just real briefly, we do have prepared speeches. We have evaluators for those speakers, and then we do some other events in the club. And one of the things that I do like about Toastmasters, we do as much as we can, we evaluate as much as we can. This being a specialty club, it's a little bit different than what a traditional Toastmaster club will be, but we still get some really good food for thought as we go through the meeting. Our first speaker is going to be Marcy Field, and but her evaluator is going to be Fred. And so Fred, I'm going to ask you if you would give us some insight as to how you are thinking about evaluating Marcy this evening.
Yes, Bill, thank you. I will be using the sandwich method, and Marcy's evaluation is on inspiring your audience. So basically, I'm going to see how well she does as far as inspiring the audience, and possibly maybe even some persuasion in there. So that's what I've got, Bill.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Marcy's 5 to 7 minute speech this evening. First as a marketer and later as a social media manager, Marcy Field has witnessed firsthand brand magic at work. One of her clients became an award-winning international influencer with branded social posting, assisting her in building an audience. Welcome, distinguished Toastmaster Marcy Field, as she shares why she believes in the power of brand magic. Marcy.
Magic. Doesn't it fascinate us? Just think of the magicians that you see. I remember as a child, we had a friend of ours, my parents, who was a magician. And he didn't pull a bunny out of a hat. He pulled a skunk out. Absolutely fascinated me. But it was magic. Where did that skunk come from? I remember in the morning, the skunk didn't just appear. He had it stored in a cage down in our basement. I remember my parents telling me that it was there. How fascinating, but a little bit scary because I knew skunks could present a problem. And that's one of the things that we are seeing with the Toastmasters brand. Some people don't understand the magic that it can create and make a difference. When it was rebranded, and they brought the universal brand in a while ago, it was to draw us together, to increase our pride in our organization. Okay, now here we go. So today I want to talk with you a bit about brand, about how our audience perceive us and customer experience, and why we should brand. A brand is much more than a logo. It involves every impression of how people perceive us. It includes our website, our social media posts, and the comments that are made on those social media posts. How are we conversing with others? It also provides how current and future members are going to experience us. That is it, coming into our meeting. How is that perception of where it works? Brand magic starts with promoting recognition. There is so much out there right now, but what draws you to a product, to an organization? When you recognize them right off. If I mention certain brands to you, their brand magic stands out. Nike, Apple, Samsung, those brands, Mercedes, you automatically draw a picture of that product, of those organizations to you. So using a brand, part of the magic is the recognition that it provides. It sets you apart from the competition. Is McDonald's and McDavid's are different. However, if you're traveling in Israel, their logos are a little bit close and the name causes you to pay attention to what it is there. So they're capitalizing on the power of the McDonald's brand. And we've seen that with a lot of organizations. Another part of the magic is that it provides motivation and direction for the members. Districts and club objectives are easier to handle because we're using a consistent brand. We're not always having to come up with new ideas. Further, it helps people, our customers, future and current members, know what to expect when they are with us. How are things going to move ahead? A brand, when it involves all of those elements, is going to tell us and let people know what the promise is. It takes us back to our values. It takes us back to respect, integrity, service, and excellence. It helps create clarity and focus. When we're not having to think of all the other little elements, when the brand elements are put together, we know the tone of our voice and what we're going to do. We rise to that and we create. It helps us create. At least it helps me create a lot different. So when we're consistent with the brand communication and people are looking at the plethora of information that is available to them on the various social platforms, we're going to be able to identify elements that are Toastmaster elements just because of the use of brand colors. We'll recognize the tone of voice that people are using and the other elements that go with there. It helps build brand loyalty amongst the members. A thing that I really feel now, going back to the question that was raised, how do we get people to engage, to be loyal and committed to what we're doing? We need to have all of those elements evident in every area. And that's the magic. It doesn't magically appear. We have to purposefully decide what we're going to do with that. So, in summary, we can create brand magic because it promotes recognition. It sets you apart from the competition. It provides motivation and direction for members. It helps customers know what to expect. Future members, our friends. It represents the Toastmasters' vision and commitment to the future. And it creates for us as PR masters and VPPRs clarity and focus as we move forward. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Marcy. Very well done. Really good insights to that. We're going to take a moment that is going to be led by Jennifer Schmidt as our first mini engagement master opportunity. Jennifer, I'm just going to hand it off to you and you lead us through how you want to go for this next couple of minutes.
All right, thank you, Bill. As the mini engagement person, what the advantage we have in this particular club is to get instant feedback from the audience. Because when we're out there presenting for all kinds of different subjects, it's not like we can poll the audience right afterwards, but here we can. So I'm going to take this moment to get your thoughts of what impacted you from this particular presentation that Marcy gave. So if you want to raise your hand, let me know, give a few thoughts and instant feedback for Marcy. No, you don't like that? Oh, or you're raising your hand, Bill.
Yes, I mean, oh, you want me to raise the virtual hand? I think for me, we have to realize it might seem like a very small something to us, a particular word or phrase or color or image that will stick with people. Just that little something extra.
Right, something that really stands out because it's a whole presentation. What's your takeaway would be my question. So whoever wants to volunteer first, let me know. I'm looking.
I'm
Maren?
realizing Jennifer has a
Yeah.
small screen, everyone. So
Yes,
I have my hand raised,
Maren
Jennifer.
has her hand up.
All right, go ahead, Maura.
I really like the metaphor of magic. I think that was really excellent, Marcy. And I kept thinking, this is a great opportunity for a silly prop, like bippity boppity boo, a black magic wand with a white tip. Talk about fun to add to the fun energy that you had throughout your speech. I also like that you discussed branding as a broader concept beyond using the logo and the colors. And I think that's like the next level after we've kind of taken a little dive into that brand packet. We've kind of learned those basics. And if you go back and reread the brand packet, oh my goodness, there's tone sheets in there. And that's a whole nother level of branding. So I'm really glad that you introduced that during your speech. And as usual, I enjoyed it. So thank you very much. That's my little highlight for today.
Thank you, Maureen. Would someone else like to give their takeaway for Marcy?
Matthew is dying to say something.
Okay, go ahead, Matthew.
I was just going to agree also with Marin. I love the magic analogy. And I found myself doing a magic trick when you were, Marcy, sharing some of the brand names like Mercedes instantly in my head, or Nike instantly in my head. I was doing a magic trick of imagining all kinds of things about those brands. So thanks for the magic.
Thank you, Matthew. Who would like to be next?
Sandra.
All right, go right ahead.
I hate to dissent, but Toastmasters has been around for almost 100 years. I've been in it for a third of that. And yet I'm finding that the brand name Toastmasters doesn't resonate with people. I think that there's some work that we have to do a little bit further. And I'd be curious to find out if any of you have thought about ways of articulating and measuring how someone would measure their success. You know, not just in pathways badges, but in a way that is transferable onto your resume or into talking with somebody. I love Toastmasters. I wouldn't have stuck around this long if I didn't, but I'm finding I'm still fighting the battle that people don't know what Toastmasters is.
All right, well, that's a good perspective there. Who else would like to tell Marcy some feedback for her speech? This is her chance to get some instant feedback of her presentation and what the takeaway was for you.
I just want to show, I did have a wand, but it's a mallet.
Oh.
I forgot to pull it out because I was using my clicker for the first time. But I did have this prop set up for you, Marin. And Sandra, I think that's a great ongoing conversation to have. And there are elements that we're looking as PR people of where we can utilize that and bring it forward. Best kept secret. I think the true Toastmasters at the core that Dr. Smedley wanted to found.
All right.
Let's have our last comment come from Vivian with her hand up.
All right. Go ahead, Vivian.
Good morning from halfway around the world. It's 10:24, Manila, Philippines. Yes, I am Marcy's #1 fan, whether you like it or yes. You like that, whether you like it or yes, right? Now, I love everything you said, and I'm going to react to something that Sandra said a while ago. Plain and simple, if I have to explain what my name means every single time to every person that I meet, and I have a lot of socials in real life, that's gonna be very taxing. It's gonna be definition of terms all the time. So Sandra has a wonderful point. How do we make it easy for people to understand without having to spend half of the night explaining to people what the word means? That's a very good challenge, Sandra, and it is timely. 98 years, good question. And remember, brilliance is not knowing the right answers, it's knowing the right questions. So I think Sandra gets a trophy tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marcy. I feel so bright every time you talk. I feel my IQ goes up. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you all for engaging in this mini engagement for Marcy. I'm sure it was helpful, and I will turn it back over to Bill.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Always appreciate the insights from everybody. Getting ready for our second prepared speaker, our speech from Matthew, and Matthew's evaluator is Adam. And Adam, if you could share with us a little bit about how you're thinking about evaluating Matthew this evening.
Sure. So Matthew's speech is around the personal branding, but more so it's more about making branding personal. So I think that's a really interesting catchphrase, and really looking forward to learning more about that. What Matthew told me is his speech is, there's two aspects to the speech. One is informing, but also the speech is meant to inspire action. So I would evaluate the speech on the efficacy of driving people to action. That's definitely one thing I'm going to look out for. But beyond that, I always look for things like engagement and body language and all that good stuff. So I'm definitely going to look for things like that. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Back to Bill.
Thank you very much, Adam. Matthew, as we all know, is the president of our club, speaks regularly, and this time in a prepared fashion, which I'm looking forward to. He did have a video the other day giving a little bit of a preview for this speech, so I'm even a little more interested in how he's going to tackle the topic of personal branding. This 5 to 7 minute speech by Matthew. Matthew, take it away.
Thank you very much. This is a speech that I'm hoping can inspire a learning lab for the district. So I'm really keen to get people's feedback. But as Adam alluded to, it's about personal branding, but it's also about personal branding. The topic of personal branding covers two things. One, it covers you as an individual, but the second is that it covers your Toastmasters club. Now, this is one of your Toastmasters clubs, but chances are really good that you also have another club. If so, this talk's for you. There are 3 points that I want to share with everybody concerning branding. And these might be 3 points that you already know. And if so, great. I simply want to bring them to your attention again. The first is the idea that personal branding is a strategy that will take your reputation from potentially relative obscurity into being more visible. What do I mean by that? Well, I think it's important to assess where you stand, and especially when it comes to your Toastmasters club. You might not necessarily have a lot of weight in the word Toastmasters. And with whatever your club is called, it also might not be something that people instantaneously know. If you were out having social conversation and you were to drop the name of your home club, chances are good that most people wouldn't know what you're talking about. So you not only need to assess where you are now in terms of potentially your relative obscurity, but also think about what you want to achieve in the future. The next item is that you want to do one message at a time. Often as VPPRs, we think that we have to boil the ocean. There's so much to do. There's so many people to reach. There's so much to say. And I want to encourage everybody to focus on that one message at a time. Keep your message as consistent as you can in tone and topic, and make sure that it's memorable for your targeted audience or your targeted community. The narrower the focus of your brand, the narrower the focus of your message, the more likely people are to remember that message and who you are. The third area that I want to share is the importance of telling a story. Nobody wants to hear you shouting your brand name out into the social media abyss. People are interested, they are hardwired for stories. And the most personal way to communicate your story is with video. People have just become used to the idea of scrolling in social media, whether it's on Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn. We're used to the idea of scrolling through material. And there are 3 ways to reach people in those mediums or in those media. One is text, the second is photos or photography, imagery, and the third is video. And video pops in a way that the other two just can't. So consider using your smartphone. Chances are very good you have one in your pocket right now, to find ways to make personal connections with prospective, could be members, it could be prospective clients, it could be prospective coworkers that you're trying to reach in a job search. But video is an incredible way to reach people. Having shared all that leads to me to the second part of my speech, which is I would very much like to inspire everyone here to take action. And there are 2 action items that I have to share. The first one is brand your club. What do I mean by that? In terms of the things that Toastmasters.org, or probably even your website, share about you are things like, where do you meet? Who are your members? When do you meet? What is the mission of your club? And the best analogy I can come up with is if somebody said, tell me about that new movie that's coming out. And you said, it's 95 minutes long. It stars Alison Brie. It takes place in Toronto, Canada. And the next showing is at 8:15. All of which is totally true. And none of which tells you anything about the movie itself. So when you're thinking about the brand of your particular club, think about something short and sweet that's going to communicate who you are and why you exist. I had a great conversation last night with Jennifer Schmidt, and she was sharing with me the things about this club that originally captured her heart. And she said it was the idea of connecting with other VPPRs. And I think that's a great summary of who we are and why we exist. We're a chance to have those small conversations and move the needle for our home clubs. The last action item that I have for you is around building community. If you open Facebook right now, you will see that I scheduled a post of a short video that I did for Dear PR Masters. And it appears on our Facebook page. It took me 15 seconds to record. So once you have your brand in mind, consider engaging with your audience. And in this case, what I want to do is ask each of you to jump on your phone at some point in the next week and record a 10 to 30-second video where you ask a question and post it to our Facebook page. Let's take the conversation that we have here and move it away from just being one night a month to all month long. With this one step, you can engage our community of one another all month long and make branding personal.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Very interesting. Very well done. Thank you for those insights. We are going to take another 3 minutes or so, 3 to 4 minutes, and Jennifer is going to lead us through another opportunity to provide some round robin feedback for Matthew. Jennifer.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Matthew. That was a great presentation. Who would like to give the first bit of feedback, instant feedback for Matthew, your main takeaway, his presentation? And I'm looking.
Bob Hall.
Hey, thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much for that very clear description of what this business is about. That crystallizes things in my mind. the first thing that stuck out in my mind, tying what Marcy said previously and some of the comments that she got, especially negative comments about branding. Somebody pointed out that how do you explain Toastmasters? Well, because what does that mean? What does that word mean? And I thought to myself, well, what does Xerox mean? It's a made-up word. McDonald's is a Scotsman. What does that have to do with hamburgers? So it's incumbent upon us to take, as you said, the obscure and make it visible. That's what PR is all about. And you got to be consistent about it. You got to be repetitious to drive that point home. You got to make it simple. You've got to boil it down. So you really helped me to connect the dots there, Matthew. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Who would like to say something next? Maybe someone who hasn't gone yet in the last session. I'm looking.
And Fred has his hand up.
All right.
Charissa had hers up before mine, so I'll let her. Oh, you're saying no? Okay. The only thing I would recommend, man, with good suggestions, but the video you talked about, maybe post a link for it or just show a little teaser clip in your PowerPoint to really make us want to look at the video you did on the Facebook page. And that's all I've got.
All right. Thank you, Fred. And Adam, did you have your hand up? No, sorry. Okay, Marcy, I did see your hand.
Thank you, Jennifer. Matthew, I loved it, but the thing that you excelled in my opinion, was providing us with the challenge. And that is what I really is my takeaway, taking us and challenging us to participate. And that is one of the reasons that I value PR Masters and being a part of this club is I am continually challenged and stepping up to that to do new things and step out of my comfort zone and stretch myself a bit to do something more. So I want to thank you for the challenge.
All right. Do we have time for one more comment, Bill?
It looks like Vivian wants to wrap it up this time as well.
All right. Go ahead, Vivian.
Thank you, Bill. I'm so inspired tonight. And because I'm inspired, I would like to inspire you. I think Toastmasters is older than McDonald's. Therefore, something's missing here. Why are we still having to explain ourselves and Xerox doesn't? Point well taken. I like tonight because there's a lot of questions, which means critical thinking. I love you because I have no love. I hate sheeple. I love the questions tonight. No sheeple in this club. Bibi, that should be your brand. PR Masters, no sheeple here. But seriously speaking, I do a lot of socials. I'm always out for lunch and dinner before pandemic. Imagine how many minutes I have to spend explaining that it's not a toaster, it's not for bread, and you know how that goes. Come on, we're gonna be a century old. Goodness gracious. Help me here. I would like to enjoy my socials and cocktails and not sounding like a broken record. Help! And that's my recap for tonight. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You go ahead, Jennifer.
Sorry. I was just going to thank everybody for their feedback, the great presentations, and all the great feedback tonight. Thank you for doing that, giving some instant feedback to our speakers. It is very valuable, and definitely remember Matthew's call to action. So now I will turn it back over to you, Bill.
And I'm ready. Thank you very much. We're going to pause for just a couple of minutes to see how our timing is going so far. And Chris, if you could share with us the timing for our first two speakers, and if you have anything else to share that along as well.
All right, thank you, Bill. Marcy's speech came in at 6 minutes, 33 seconds, and Matthew's at 8 minutes, 6 seconds. The first mini engagement, I didn't get exact time, but about 6 to 7 minutes, and the second one about 5 minutes.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm going to put Matthew on the spot a little bit. We want to take a couple of minutes to see if there's any club business that needs to be have us be aware of or discuss a little bit. Anything on the docket?
I wanted to use the time to welcome our guests and to hear where they're from and what brings them. So, let's see here.
Okay. I know Mildred is a guest, and I think she kind of tipped her hand to
Mhm.
the answer to that question a little earlier, as far as her needs to meet the challenges of her club at this point. And we will certainly do that for you. Are there any, I don't know, people aren't actually identifying themselves as guests. Vivian, I know you've been a guest here before, and it's good to have you join us from halfway around the world. It's always, it's fascinating to me. It's absolutely fascinating that we're able to share with each other from so far away geographically, but not as far as our desires and our passions, and when it comes to PR. So that's wonderful. Are there any other guests that we can, Josephine, I believe you're a guest here, Tom. Can you let us know a little bit about why you chose to join us this evening? She's driving too. We got to be careful.
Hi, I know I've actually just parked. I've just gotten home and I've just parked. So thank you. I am the VP of PR, as I mentioned in the chat, for my club, Spot On, and Rusty. And so therefore, I thought when I saw you listed on Facebook, I think it was Facebook I found you, I thought, okay, this can help me to gain in confidence and hopefully do something a bit more with regards to both my PR skills and for Spot On and by extension Toastmasters as a whole. And one way of becoming better at something is to become more focused. And so therefore, yes, there are lots of different online clubs, but I thought, no, to be able to do justice to my PR role, I thought, why not? I have been before. I have not been regular because it's just once a month. And also the time of day, as I mentioned, is 10 o'clock by me. As someone else mentioned, it was 10 o'clock by them. And so, sometimes I'm just too tired, to be perfectly honest. But I'm glad that I came tonight, albeit late, because I learned about, I've forgotten who it was, the second speaker mentioning that videos seem to have more algorithms on Facebook. So that I'm going to try and do a little bit more of. I haven't quite figured out what my subject areas are going to be, but I will certainly be trying to do more videos to reach a greater audience. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is it Ayu? Is that how you say your name?
Yes, Bill. My name is Ayu Anantia. I am here invited by Maren Siepa. Thank you, Maren. And seconded by Bob. Bob was just say, hi, yeah, come on in. So I was like, okay. And I'm quite surprised that we have Jennifer, Carissa, and Matthew. We are here not really know each other that much or never work together, but your name is always, I heard your name a lot. I work with Matthew though. And yeah, this is interesting. The problem is a little bit the same with Josephine. Today is my club meeting. I have to get out from my club meeting early to join this. So in the future, I have to a little bit like choose which one. But I'm happy that I be able to listen to Matthew. And I want to just say, nice PowerPoint, very simple. Indeed, less is more. So thank you to speak slow enough so I can digest. And I took note. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, PR Master.
Thank you. Thank you. And the problem of trying to choose which of two clubs to attend on an evening, that's a good problem to have. It really is. That's a good problem to have. Now I've been kind of seeing riddles lately, and I'm thinking of a riddle. There's a person who's a guest, but not a guest, but maybe a guest, shouldn't be a guest. But Eric, it's good to see you again. What brings you here this evening?
Hi, Bill. Hi, everybody. It's been a while. My name's Eric Winger, as my name tag indicates. I was a charter member of this club way back at the beginning of COVID. And now we're at the end of COVID. So I thought, geez, it's time to re-engage with the world. I've been out on personal family business for quite a while now. So I'm going to try to engage. I re-upped this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to do my best to make it as much as I can here. And that is, other than using some silly line about a Zoom link bringing me in here, that's how I got here tonight.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's good to have you back. Good to have you with us. And we trust that everything went well with all of your adventures and challenges since we've seen you last. Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to go to our next segment with our Show Your Page. And this is going to be presented by Jill Bell. And she gave me this introduction, and I like it. So I'm going to read it because it's really kind of cool. All right. Tonight, Jill Bell will be walking us through the website of her home club, the Corvallis Evening Group. Jill has been a member of the Corvallis Evening Group since November 2019. This year, she took on the role of VPPR. Her early activities as VPPR have been focused on developing and growing the club's social media. Jill is getting ready to dive into updating the club's website and is eager for feedback and ideas of what she could do to make the website more engaging to her club members, in addition to guests or people wanting to learn more about the Corvallis Evening Group. Jill, 6 to 8 minutes. Show us what you got.
Thank you, Bill. By show of hands tonight, how many of us have been managing a Toastmasters website or have worked on a Toastmasters website? Quite a few. All right, I'm hopeful that you guys are going to have good feedback for me. I'm going to screen share and bring up our website. Since joining PR Masters, I have been hearing about different platforms that different clubs are using. The Corvallis Evening Group is using free Toast Host. I'm hopeful that some of you have experience with free Toast Host and will be able to provide me some feedback and insights. If not, maybe you guys can convince me that I need to switch this over to a different platform. My background has been with Wix and WordPress just a little bit, and I honestly have not dove into this website yet. I'm planning on doing that in the near future. As we go through the website, I'd really like to hear feedback on the key opportunities for improvements, anything that you guys think I should work on tackling first. My main focus is going to be the public page, the public interface on here, not necessarily the members only section. I really want to see what I can do to spruce up this website so people who come to check us out might leave with a good impression, hence the branding as we've been discussing tonight. Starting with the home page that we're looking at right now, and I'm gonna have to apologize, I'm moving Zoom around here. All right. There we go. This is what our main website looks like when you come dive in. Fairly basic. Greetings, Toastmasters and guests. Has information on here about who we are, where we meet, when we meet, as we discussed earlier. As you can tell, just the basics are on here. Not a whole lot of interesting information. It's fairly basic. There's 3 things that stand out to me here immediately when I think of what I would like to do with this website on the main page that people are first going to come to for the Corvallis Evening Group. I'd like to incorporate some pictures on here. This is really plain. There's not a whole lot going on. I'm thinking next meeting, I want to take some pictures of our members of our meeting and get them up on the main page here. Show our faces. Second, even though I'm listening today about not focusing on where we meet and when we meet, I would like to put that in bold. When I come to somebody's website, if I'm looking at joining, I'm going to want to know where they meet, when they meet immediately. That's what I'm going to want to focus on. So I do want to maybe move text around and make things bold. The other thing is consistent coloring. Again, I'm not familiar with free Toast hosts, so I'm not sure if this is normal with the colors or if we have other fonts and colors available, but I just am not real keen on this brown color currently being used, but would like to see what the options are for improvement. Another thing I want to point out, and I believe PR Masters and other clubs do put their Zoom links out for the public. We have been keeping it confidential. We are welcoming of new members. We want to encourage new members. We don't want to hinder them from getting our Zoom link. We just don't want to end up with Zoom bombers. So we are keeping it private for the time being, and people can reach out to us via text, via email, and get provided the Zoom link for our meeting. We are doing hybrid meetings is what we've been doing. At the bottom of this page, we have more tabs. I'm going to call these tabs that show general Toastmasters information is what these are. And these are great. There's 8 total tabs here, and I'm wondering if I could condense these down to 2 tabs, one specific to Corvallis Evening Group, and then another tab that would have more general Toastmasters information. Why our club is right for you. We've got some good information here. I'm just thinking that maybe we need to do something just slightly different with our club and condense it down and have it formatted a little bit differently. I'm gonna start going over the tabs down here real quick. Meeting information and directions are here also. I need to figure out what's going on with this map. If anybody has insights for me on working with maps, this one does not appear to have a place where you can put in the address and zoom to it. It doesn't appear to be functioning real well. So that's another thing that I would like to work on. I'm also interested in possibly putting up some pictures here about the location where we do meet so people can see the building. If they are planning on coming, they'll know what to look for. Next on our list, contact us seemed appropriate for me for what it is. I had used this when I first reached out to the club. It worked well. I didn't have any immediate desires to change. Earlier today, when I was working on preparing for our meeting tonight for this presentation, I've got a few more that did fill this out. I noticed we only had a couple members that had their profiles made public, so it would show up here. So I immediately sent an email out and requested that our members fill in their profiles if they so choose and click that box to make it public. And I see a few of them have already done that since I sent that email out this morning, so that's exciting. This was fairly quiet in here. It didn't have a whole lot of faces showing up or information about people. That's one of the things I wanted to focus on, getting our faces, our stories out there. As people see who we are, I'm hoping that it will help drive some interest and some engagement. Club calendar is something that I honestly had never clicked on before today. We just have the basics. Right now, our club is struggling to keep membership up and grow. We are only doing currently our weekly meetings, and I'm not sure what other opportunities we'd have to utilize this calendar. I do appreciate that it's there, but for the time being, it's not getting a lot of engagement. We get into a few interesting things that we have forms to download. I love having forms available to download. I started diving into these and some of this stuff is very outdated. I need to do something about getting the content updated. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this up for you guys right now. Getting the content updated so it's fresh and current. This here caught me a little bit off guard when I opened it up earlier today. This is very old, as it talks about our previous location where they used to meet at Izzy's Pizza in Corvallis, and that's been a very long time ago at this point. So out-of-date content is also something that I need to work on. And I do like having this stuff available. I'm just not sure if it benefits the club or if it would make more sense to link this back over to the actual Toastmasters website. Last thing I want to point out is the about our Corvallis Evening Group. This is my favorite page. I'm somebody who loves history, who loves learning about clubs, about people. And here we've got a little bit of history that the Corvallis Evening Group was chartered in June of 1946. The club has been around for a long time. Again, out of date material on here that I need to go update. Toastmasters International membership, I don't believe has been $36 for a while, so out of date content. As a whole, very simple, basic website. I need to go ahead and update social media links. I love that the podcast is listed here because I'm a huge podcast fanatic. The only other thing that I would like to see on here is a link back to District 7. That is something that I would like to see us do, is link back so people can go see what's happening within the district, not just within our own club. With that, I'm going to put the call to action for you guys tonight as we go into the next portion. I'd love to hear what you guys think I should focus on, what the main focus for the website should be, if it should just be updating this one, should I consider going to a different platform? And tell me what the key elements are that you think are missing. To me, it's personalization and photos are missing. There's good general content in here, but it's not personalized. It's very generic. It's reading off when the movie was made, how long it was, and that's essentially what's here for us tonight.
Okay.
Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody? Okay. We've got a couple of hands. Oh, go ahead, Marin.
Jill, to help you with the navigation, I'm going to switch to my screen share so you don't have to navigate and listen and write at the same time.
Thank you.
Okay, so because of the timing that we have with the rest of our meeting this evening, we do want to try to end on time. I want to handle this in a couple of ways. Let's give 2 minutes for people if they have something specific to share to Jill verbally to do that, but also I highly encourage you to put some ideas in the chat. And if there's anything beyond what she pointed out as far as more personal messages and photos and maybe prioritizing things, let's go ahead and do that. Fred, you look like you have something that you would like to share.
Yes, to Jill on the pictures. If she needs to set up a Zoom meeting with me, I can, but there's a tab there, an image tab. You just basically click on it and it puts the image pretty much where you have the cursor, and you can upload videos too via YouTube. There's a YouTube upload button where you can actually embed it. It's not going to be a link. You can actually embed the video right into your website, because I have a couple on ours. I have the podcast I did and a video I created I'm going to be putting on there as well. So just giving that to Jill for ideas. It's real simple, and if she needs help, I'll be glad to set up a Zoom call with her.
Okay, Jennifer Schmidt.
Okay, with the photos, that's one thing I'd really recommend you put like the group photo up first. If you were to pick a thing to do first, I'd say the group photo, make it a happy one, a big group in front of your building. And then also for the individual photos, I noticed that they're different distances. So if you could make it like consistent, a little more consistent, and you're like in an outline, you don't have a background, maybe put a background on you so it kind of looks a little more cohesive. That's what I'd recommend.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer. Marcy.
Quick thing, Jill, I'm in exactly the same spot as you. We've got some pictures on the website for our home club. I'm looking at different options as I've looked at. There's 3 options for doing sites, and I'm looking at a WordPress site. Would be delighted to talk with you in doing this. I found this to be a lot of work, going back to create a modern look. And one of the things I believe as Toastmasters now is we need to create engagement, and we have to move away from a dated look to create not just having the information there, but as Matthew told us tonight, to brand our club and have that personality. One of the reasons I like the PR Masters website, which is on a different format, and I think we can use that experience because we don't want to look like a 98-year-old organization, in my opinion. And I find that with using some of the existing, and we're having a lot of Toastmasters that are far more tech savvy now, and we have the opportunity to move ahead with that. Just my feedback, and I'm excited to know that we're both on this journey together.
Mm-hmm. Great. Excellent feedback. And I see some really great ideas and suggestions in the chat as well. And if you have some things that you still are as bubbling up as the evening continues, please feel free to put them into the chat. Eric, quick insight.
Yeah, real fast. As you were going through the links in your website, and there's some great stuff on there. My general observation of the internet is that nobody reads the bottom half of the internet except for a few people. You're one, I might be one. So think about the thing from the top down, if you will. What comes up first when someone sees it on a screen or a phone, and focus on making that inviting. And I think you'll have better success drawing people in, especially guests. My 2 cents.
Thank you very much. It kind of reminds me of the phrase below the fold when they talked about newspapers and selling newspapers. Let's go ahead and transition at this point. We want to spend a little bit of time with our dear PR Masters time, and Mildred had given us a very interesting topic to discuss that all of us can certainly relate to. And as a reminder of what she shared, and Vivian, if you need a little bit more than what I'm going to share, please add to this. How to draw in more members when a club is struggling to meet, how to also have current members engage more consistently, how to manage time and resources and effort. I know that one of the realities of our Toastmasters clubs is it's a volunteer club. And when we have to make decisions about our time, it doesn't get real high on our priority list when things, we have to cut things out. And that's just a reality that we all have to deal with. And so, is there anything else that you would like to add to that synopsis? I guess not. So let's take some time if you would like to share some ideas that you might have to help a club kind of coalesce and engage. Maureen, I see that you have your hand up.
So for all the effort we put into messaging out around Toastmasters and making images and videos, the number one way that members come into our clubs is through invitation, through one-on-one conversation with people. So the more that each of your club members, every 8 of you, can set goals around talking about Toastmasters in different spaces of your life and inviting people and saying, hey, I'm speaking this weekend. Would you come listen to me? Which sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's like, I don't want my friends coming to listen to me speak. But maybe they're willing to come visit your friend speaking and say, hey, I'm really excited. My friend's going to speak. Maybe you want to come listen. So do that invitation thing, inspire everyone to do it, and that can really help eventually getting people to come to your club.
Fred.
Yes, I would say if you have a Facebook page as well, to keep that updated and put like if however often you meet, put what the theme's going to be and maybe even who the Toastmaster and or the speaker's going to be, because we've got a lot of compliments from my home club in Florida, because I'm the VPPR, on all the content that they see between the themes and then the pictures afterwards from the meetings. So just keep that stuff going on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yes, consistency, absolutely true. Vivian.
This is a quick one. I visit many clubs and you know that's what brought me here. Quickly, can everybody answer my one simple question? Why should I choose your club when everybody else is available online as well? Why you?
Mm-hmm.
And I ask everybody that. It would be good to have a quick answer, and that would be a brand.
And if you have a quick answer, go ahead and put it in the chat, and that would be really kind of cool. And it goes to that branding that we've been talking about with our prepared speeches. Bob.
Yeah, this is a really deep, profound topic. My goodness. The first thing that comes to my mind is that our website should be a role model. And it's not. We're not there. we've got some work to do here. And I think that we need to have some continuous discussion about this subject over the upcoming months and invite District 7 to give us some feedback and just, it's a great way to promote PR Masters, get the word out there. This is a forum that you can contribute to. We're on the same boat as everybody. You know, we're no different than anybody else. We need to hear this message ourselves. And so, yeah, thank you very much, Jill, for bringing this up. Great subject.
And Mildred, when I think about how to get, you know, people who are new to Toastmasters or a new club and getting people engaged, and we have this tension. A lot of people went to Toastmasters because they want to get good at public speaking, they want to be improved in their social interaction, but they feel very uncomfortable about it. It's sort of, you know, it's sort of this tension that they have, but yet we make our club a very safe club. It's a club where you can really mess up and you can really just have a bad time, or you're working through a way to do a presentation, you just have no idea how to tackle it, and you can come before us and you can just mess up, and we will be there with you and for you. We kind of joked one time, this member had a daughter who was being forced to try to speak at her senior graduation, and she didn't want to. And we said, well, we can help her do that. We can help her mess it up really, really bad so she won't be chosen. And it's just a matter of meeting people where they are and making them feel it's okay to grow, and it's okay to be where you are, and to start where you're at and do what you can. Anyone else have any? Maureen? Yeah.
I think we really need to focus on what's easy right now, because we are volunteers, and Mildred, it gets so overwhelming. So I think, what's an easy post? We don't know what channels you're doing, but if your members are all in a Facebook group or LinkedIn or whatever, and you do a post, say, hey, share it onto your personal feed. And that opens up that next network of people. So once again, you've done the work of building the post. If they can do the work of sharing it out, that helps too. So they're just always thinking about, how can I bring in others to help me, and how can I make my little effort of work grow more through other people engaging and participating and understanding why. When we share, it opens up so many more people to us.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. We're right about the end of the time that we have for this segment, and unless there's somebody that's just dying to say something, we'll go ahead and move on to our evaluation time. Okay. And Vivian, thank you so much for speaking up about that. And that was such a wonderful opportunity for us to revisit that very essential element to Toastmasters that we all need to deal with on a regular basis. And sometimes it's more difficult than others. So thank you very much for that. We now have a couple of prepared evaluations that are going to be shared from the prepared speeches that happened earlier in our meeting today. So I'm going to call on Fred to give us his evaluation of Marcy's speech. Fred, when you're
Thank
ready.
you, Bill. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Marcy. Just wanted to say, first off, I loved your opening. As soon as you said those first few words, I was totally engaged to what you were having to say. I loved how you used the two different screens for your PowerPoint, but I really love how you did the brand comparisons in addition to Toastmasters and the comparison to McDonald's. I mean, heck, who doesn't know what McDonald's is? And I felt also too that you had the great use of mentioning the Toastmasters core values. And I call it the RISE concept, the respect, integrity, service, and excellence. You know, even though a lot of people may not know what Toastmasters is, or those that might be new, the core values are something that they need to know as well, which I think ties in with the branding. For some feedback, when I switched to speaker view to try to watch your presentation, I think because you were using the two different cameras or screens, I could only see you. I couldn't see your presentation. I don't know if that was just on my end, but I could only see you. So maybe use the PIP feature in Zoom, or if there's a way to do it in Prezi, that would have been better. If people are switching to speaker view, kind of like how we were able to see it on Matthew's presentation. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more TM brand, Toastmasters branding in comparison to when you mentioned McDonald's and Mercedes and Samsung. Maybe show some of those branding as well, because I saw more of the Toastmasters, and kind of give some comparisons as far as how the magic works between all of them. And I really think for you to sell it, Marcy, you said you had your wand that you forgot to have because you had the clicker. Maybe wear like a wizard's outfit or a magician's outfit. That way, if you forget the magic wand, you've already got the outfit. And maybe instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, pull a brand logo out of a hat. Something like that, I think would have really sold it. But overall, I felt you had a great ending. It was very informative. There was some audience engagement on your end. You don't have to have answers from the audience to be engaged with them. And I felt that you left me wanting to know more about branding, which is what I think you were trying to accomplish. So great job, Marcy, and back to you, Bill.
Excellent, Fred. Thank you very much. Well done evaluation. Yeah, as we're and I did notice the 2-screen thing. And I do know that in a lot of Zoom, there's an advanced feature in sharing that you can have slides be your virtual background. And that provides a whole nother set of challenges so that you don't want to be in the way of whatever it is on the screen you want to make sure people see and that kind of stuff. But it's something to think about and look into. But very nice speech, a very good evaluation. Thank you very much. Our second evaluator for our second speech is Adam, and Adam is going to be giving us some insights into Matthew's speech this evening. Adam.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Matthew, for a very energetic, engaging speech, right? First off, some of the things I noted was that I love the graphics. Very, I don't know, it was very lively, if that's a way to put it. Very fun, lively, bright, engaging graphics. Love that about the presentation. Overall, I thought it was very brief, to the point. One thing that clearly stood out was you had a specific, I think there was one slide which just said call to action or something along those lines. Like a very clear demarcation, like, okay, I talked about a couple of things here, but then the rest of it is going to be call to action. Bam. So it felt very much in line. At least that's my personal feeling, was that I think you did a really good job of fulfilling your objective of inspiring people and having them maybe take the next step to take some action. A couple of things, again, very nitpicky. I think I had a really hard time trying to pick out feedback, right? One thing that to me was not completely clear was that at some point, I think this was your first topic in the first half of your speech, was that try to think about what your club is about, like your home club. That was one of the suggestions you had. You touched on this briefly when you talked about branding your club, but maybe a few examples of how would someone like Mildred, new to VPPR, how would she start that thought process? Like, how do you start thinking about it? Should she reach out to her fellow members? Should she look at other examples? So how do you start the thought process? Maybe some examples there. That would have taken it to the next level. And another thing is maybe, again, sometimes it's not fit well with the theme of the speech, but this one, I think it would have, was some direct engagement with the audience, like ask a question or seek an idea or something along those lines. But overall, like I said, I'm trying to nitpick, but very clear, very energetic. A lot of examples of it. The theme of PR Masters community engagement, it was all very much tied into the speech. So love that. Very warm and fuzzy. So yeah, great job, Matthew. Thank you. Back to Bill.
Thank you very much, Adam. Very good evaluation. Appreciated your insights there. And yeah, It's amazing to me how the meeting just folds together. Even some of the unpredictable parts, everything really does fold together very, very well. I think one of the things that I liked about Matthew's speech is the call to action, and I'm reminded that Dan Wyden of Wyden and Kennedy passed away this week, and I heard a little bit of an interview on how he came up with the slogan "Just Do It" for Nike way back when, and that put them on the map globally. And that kind of resonates in so many levels in our lives. We had a member at our New Horizons Club a few months ago talking to Vivian about what to do, and his term was just ask. Just ask. You know, just you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be worried about it. And what's the worst that can happen, kind of a thing. And so it's something about how to take that thought and that desire and just get going. Just do it. It's really kind of neat. Carissa, I will ask for a little bit of an update on our timing. If you could share with us how we're doing so far.
Okay. Jill's Show Your Page segment was about 8 minutes, 29 seconds as far as her presentation went. And then we allowed about 3 minutes, 30 seconds for feedback round robin style. Dear PR Masters discussion was about 6 minutes, 36 seconds. Fred's evaluation of Marcy, 2 minutes, 35. Adam's evaluation of Matthew, 2 minutes, 52.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the roles that we do have in Toastmasters, and I think every club that I can think of, is our general evaluator. And I like this role because I like that Toastmasters evaluates. And I like that because it gives us takeaways. It helps us to improve even when we're awesome. You know, it's wonderful. Bob Hall is our general evaluator this evening. And Bob, could you give us your report, please?
Absolutely, I'd love to. And let me first of all evaluate you, Bill. Awesome job. Very, very impressive. You've got this announcer voice, calm and collected, very professional, and it really sets the tone. You make people feel comfortable and at ease. You did a great job of selecting PR Masters at the front, but we haven't really done that, have we? Dear PR Masters? We didn't get to that, did we?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It
okay.
was Vivian's comment that we had talked about.
So okay, so we kind of discussed that. But
yeah.
Got it. All right. Two very, very good professional speeches. Brand Magic. That's a very catchy title, and but a good evaluation of that from Fred. Fred called out, how catching that is, but he called out the split screen problem. I had the same problem switching between the speaker and the slides back and forth, and it was a little bit distracting. So good call out on that. And then Adam has some difficulty nitpicking Matthew. I can understand why. It was a great speech, Matthew. Talked about calling out for some specific examples, and he called out for audience engagement. But Matthew went like 8.5 minutes. I don't know how you squeeze all of that in there, to be honest. You had a lot of good information in there. I think it stood alone fairly well. The Show Your Page. This is really an excellent springboard, I think, for future discussions. We probably need to talk about this in a couple of weeks. How we're going to have continuous discussions about this concept and other concepts like this. It feeds into this every other month or every other week planning meeting that we have. So I thought that was very good. Those are my general evaluator comments. Back to you, Bill.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. To wrap up this, first I need to apologize. I said Vivian gave us the idea for Dear PR Masters, but it was really Mildred. And so again, it was a wonderful discussion. Thank you for bringing that up. To wrap it up, we like to do just again, one last opportunity for all of us to coalesce what we have experienced this evening. So if you could give a 1 or 2 word takeaway that you will have from this evening, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and call on people. And, you know, Mara and I always pick on you, so I'm going to pick on you first. Let's do that.
I shouldn't have made that face.
I would have picked on you anyway. It's okay.
What can I say about tonight? I really enjoyed, and I want to talk about things that we do outside of the meeting as well. I've been away, and it's been a struggle for a couple of months. And I started describing us as being in the terrible twos. And what I saw over the last month is different people really picking up their leadership roles. And I really appreciated that. And I really love that, like, I was like, Bill, did you volunteer to be Toastmaster, or am I accidentally putting you in here? He's like, no, I volunteered. I'm like, great. So I see us kind of transitioning from our position as a developing club into like, okay, we're figuring out how to be more sustainable. We're figuring out how to build each other up in our roles. Bob has transitioned into my role from last year, and he's doing great. And so from my perspective, each month I'm seeing us get incrementally better. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Jennifer Schmidt, quick thought about this evening's meeting.
It was great to see everybody. It was very engaging and a lot of great feedback and points. I like the tips and the sharing. So that's what I got out of tonight, was like the engagement and the sharing and the cooperation.
Excellent. Thank you. Adam. Insights.
Yeah, I think I agree with Jennifer. Engaging and like I'm going to go back to Matthew's speech. I thought the overall today's meeting was very, kind of in a way, it felt back to, we're going back to our core of connecting with VP. And I think Jennifer also, you touched on that apparently. Going back to our core of supporting VPPR, finding out strategies for PR, helping Toastmasters clubs improve the PR. Show Your Page, I think, I want to say came back after like a while. I want to say 5-6 months. So going back to the roots. So I like that.
Excellent. Thank you. Vivian, a quick share.
In a nutshell, everybody in the room is bright, and yet tonight you had a great combination of head, heart, and hands. Oh, I love you for that. Really, I love you for that. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well said. Matthew, insights.
I just had great fun putting together the speech for tonight, and for me, the biggest insight was, I don't know why, I thought posting video on Facebook would just be so difficult. It was easier than opening a car door. It was so stupid easy. So for me, I hope just something that people have as a takeaway is just how incredibly simple it is, and how I hope it can be transformative in some respect for us as a club that only meets monthly, that we can talk a little bit during the rest of the month about things that we're thinking about. And maybe even one of those turns into a speech for you.
It would be easy. Some of these cars too, their doors, they open when you just walk up to the car. That's
I know.
I'm telling you, that just scares me. Jill, what about you? Insights for this evening's meeting?
Was that me, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Clarity and focus is what I took away. I jotted down a few notes. So lots of notes during both Marcy and Matthew's speeches, as I always do, and we'll have some takeaways to go work on. And as you guys can tell, I've got my work cut out on that website also to try to bring that up into something a little bit more modern. I appreciated all of the feedback from tonight. I jotted down notes from everything everybody left in the comments or the chat section also. So thank you guys for those comments. I did go click on your guys' links that you put in there real quick, and it looks like that free Toast host platform is similar across the board, that there's a lot of things that I probably am not going to be able to change, is what I just gathered from clicking on those links. So thank you for sharing, but I'm going to do my best to try to bring the Corvallis Evening Group's website up into current times.
Excellent. Great. Yeah, early 21st century. There you go. Marcy, quick thoughts?
As always, I come away energized from our meetings, challenged to be more and growing in relationships that are here. I reinforce what many people have said, going back to the basics, seeing everybody growing into new roles, and looking forward to next month when we're going to talk about Know Your Audience. And the opportunities that exist there. Still looking for speeches for that if you're doing anything, and always available to brainstorm. And I think I loved hearing how we're having conversations outside of our meetings, because Toastmasters is so much more than just going to a meeting. It's the relationships that we are doing. And I heard Matthew say that he was hoping that his speech would turn into a thing for TLI. And I'm delighted that Jill and Marin and I are working on a presentation for TLI that is coming up. And
excellent.
Yeah, taking what we're learning. So it's very important for us to hear from you.
Very, very true. Fred, any quick thoughts?
Yes, I like Bob's idea about us setting the platform and the example for our website. And just to give you a heads up, the district, I think starting in January, is going to have a club website contest. So that will give us a head start, and maybe even give Jill a reason to kind of update her website. And I like how these last couple of months we've been theme focused, and that's where I think some of the challenges are in a good way, where we have to challenge ourselves. What kind of speech can I do to stick to the theme? So I really like how we're challenging ourselves there. And finally, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but you were talking about PR. I guess this is the photographer in me, but the word focus was used at least 7 or 8 times tonight, whether you guys realized it or not. That's all I've got.
All right, very good insight there. Sandra, any quick insights?
Yes, I originally found your club because I liked your branding. And then you kind of switched it up. And then I saw Matthew's video, and it was so personable and friendly. I was like, why did I stop going to that group? So I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed a lot of the things that were put in the chat as far as some statistics that a lot of times people, when I do the PR, go, well, why are we even putting a picture up there? And I'm like, why are you asking? So having information about what gets higher in the algorithms and knowing how much they can help you out. And then lastly, I love the analogy of the junior or the high school yearbook, and how do you want to be remembered, and how do you want your club to be thought of? And I like to use that when I come up with the branding for clubs that I'm working with is, well, what do you look like? What are you there for? What are you doing? And so you guys gave me some great facts and figures. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Mildred, any quick thoughts?
I really liked the idea of giving everybody in the group a challenge. So challenging people to ask a question on the Facebook group. I'm going to take that back to my club, or I'll have like every meeting that I'm at, I'm going to end it with some kind of a challenge for the membership to do on the Facebook page, whether it's to post a small video or ask a question or whatever they can do.
All right, excellent, good idea. Thank you for that. Eric, welcome back. Any quick thoughts?
Quick thoughts. I think it's been touched on, but I'm taking away Matthew's inverse metaphor, the movie analogy. That seems to be how I've described my club forever. You know, here's when we meet, here's what we do, and blah, blah, blah. But the idea of a story, coupled with his example of talking to Jennifer and saying, I came to PR Masters to meet other VPs of PRs. The combination of those two things helps with new ideas for how we can brand our club in a personal way. So I have a big takeaway tonight. Really appreciate that.
All right. Now, Carissa, you haven't talked too much, but you've been working hard over there. Any insights to what you experienced tonight?
I just enjoyed that. It seemed conversational and collaborative, more of a spirit of cooperation than I don't know, than I thought maybe recent meetings had. Just felt we're one happy family talking. It's a nice feeling.
Excellent. Great. And Bob, you gave us that great report for general evaluator, and I don't know, do you have anything to add to that? I'll give you one last opportunity, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Well, you know what Fred said? He mentioned the fact that I talked about our own website. Maren said we're all volunteers here, and there's a lot of work involved in doing this. So we got to figure out how to break it down, how to make it simple, how to make it maintainable, and everybody can get a little piece in there. Make it easy for everybody. Simple is good. Focus. You don't want to boil the ocean with this website. So that's what we're going to get our heads wrapped around. And we also talked about the discussion that you had with Jennifer, talking about the core value, the core mission. We've got to boil it down into that and get that through our website somehow.
Okay.
So that's the challenge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Or last thing before we go, group picture. I'm thinking a thumbs up kind of a thing. Everybody would do that. Is that, and then I'll count down. Okay, cool. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right. Really enjoyed the evening. I'm glad that I was able to be your Toastmasters this evening, and look forward to keeping in touch and seeing how we grow. And I'm going to stop the recording at this point and turn it back to, I guess, Matthew,